Hey, what's going on? It's Stokely from So Ndule. When I just started getting into trying to learn how to reverse my hair loss, the universal health strategies applied. And I realized that these strategies applied across the board, no matter what you're going, what your condition is. Get enough sleep, hydrate, get enough sunlight, and manage stress. Right? So, and when people talk about stress, they talk about cortisol a lot. Supposedly, cortisol is good for some things, good for fight or flight, good for directing resources certain places. In my opinion, the caveman didn't live too long, maybe into his 20s. And then, like in the early 1900s, up until the early 1900s, average lifespan was around in the 40s or something like that, or in the late 1800s, it was still in the 40s or so, roundabouts, right? Unless you had a good amount of wealth, indoor plumbing, all kind of stuff. Vaccines kind of help also boost lifespan, life expectancy, because if you have a whole bunch of infant deaths, it's going to average lower. The average life expectancy is going to be lowered by the fact that there's so many day-old, month-old, few years old children perishing. So the vaccines kind of help that, in that sense, especially in the city areas. I think one of the unhealthiest places to be is inside of a big city, in my opinion, between just the congestion, the spread, the lack of natural plant life, the EMF, the pollution from the vehicles, so on and so on and so forth. So city life was, I'm going off on a tangent, but city life is kind of unnatural. We live in communities, we live in villages, but not at this scale. I live in New York City, which has a population of 8 million. I live in Queens. Queens has a population of about 3 million by itself. It's wonderful. It's nice. It's very nice, especially like if you're in your 20s or so. It's like a wonderful place to be, to experience all the art and all the different cultures and the different foods and the events and all of that stuff. All that's good. Well, when you get later up in the years, or you want to take care of your kids, you want somewhere more residential, you want to live in an area that's got clean air, because as a younger person, you're not really worried too much about clean air. You're just worried about having fun. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, a lot of younger people are coming down with ailments that are more common with older people, and it's because of a lot of different factors. But anyhow, across the board, sunlight, sleep, hydration, stress management, right? So I subscribe to a newsletter called Harvard Medical School Health Beat. Now, I typically don't read the emails anymore, because the emails are really just solicitations to purchase research papers and purchase more detailed reports, and I'm not really dedicating any financial resources to anything unnecessary right now. But just by looking at the blurbs and the introductory information that they provide, the summary of what the article is about that they provide in the email, I'm able to get a good idea of what they're talking about. And sometimes they give you a lot of good information just in that small email, and that can get you going in the right direction to find more information and start researching about what they're talking about. Now, you don't get access to that specific document, but I still find it very useful. So I haven't ended my subscription, which is not a paid subscription. It's, like I said, you have to buy the you have to pay for the full access. So I just get to see the previews of the articles. So this specific article, I think they're giving the whole thing for free here, but it says stress and functional gastrointestinal disorders, yo. Okay, so stress can make you sick to your stomach. You know, people say, I'm sick to my stomach. You know, I don't know if that's just ghetto vernacular that we use, but I'm sick to my stomach. Yeah, so that's when you're upset. Somebody's so upset, they're so angry that their stomach feels bad. You know what I mean? I've been in situations where, I mean, you know, like I'm about to show my mother my report card, and I get so nervous and so scared. This feels like, you know, I probably don't even want to eat. You know what I mean? I feel like the bottom of my stomach has fallen out or something, you know, sometimes. And, yeah, it's bugged out. So anyhow, I'm just going to skip through it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I would advise, you know, if you want, I mean, we get so much information. I just delete most emails I get nowadays. I just delete them. I don't want to be distracted enough. I'm already doom scrolling on Instagram. I'm already doom scrolling on Facebook. I don't need anything else. But the good thing about this, aside from Facebook and Instagram, this is more official. This is coming from Harvard University. Harvard University's medical school is publishing these things, you know. And at least, you know, it's coming from an institution that's not necessarily, I mean, the final say on anything, because there's research is always finding new things. But at least there's some peer-reviewed, vetted, edited, science, so hopefully science-backed information in here, versus stuff on Instagram where I could just post anything and I could say anything, you know, or versus Facebook where somebody can make a post and say anything. You know, this one has the reputation of Harvard University on the line, somewhat. So they have a little more skin in the game, so that gives it a little bit more legitimacy. Not the fact that it's from Harvard University, which is a prestigious name in itself, but they're representing a brand that they have to stand behind. You know, that you know So it says, you may feel nauseated before giving a presentation or feel intestinal pain during times of stress. You're not imagining it. The gut and the brain influence each other. So, you know, we've been talking and everybody's saying it now. I mean, everybody's been saying it before I heard it, that the gut is the second brain. You know what I mean? So I think this article goes on to say that, you know, you can affect your gut biome based on your mindset. And then when you affect your gut biome based on your mindset, your gut now affects your brain. So it's like a cycle. It's like a circle. Like they're both working together. You know, so if you're all stressed out and stuff, you're gonna mess with your gut biome, and then your gut biome is gonna mess with your brain. So, you know, where do you start? I think the start has to be with your mind. I think the start has to be with your frontal cortex. And I was just reading something about alcohol because I was wondering, you know, these guys that I know, a few guys that, you know, they abuse alcohol, but they have girlfriends. So I'm like, wait a minute. So these guys that are alcohol, who are abusing alcohol, they're getting a lot of sex. SCX. I'm sorry, I don't like to say that word. These guys who are abusing alcohol, they're getting a lot of SCX. While me, who doesn't drink any alcohol, I'm borderline having erectile dysfunction. So what's going on? So I asked Grok, which is one of the most raunchy, or I don't know what to call it, one of the most direct, unfiltered AI agents. The other ones are kind of, you know, they'll kind of sanitize their speech a little bit. Grok will not really do that. So I asked Grok, now, are these gentlemen who are abusing alcohol, is the alcohol increasing their virility? And Grok responded, well, no, that's not the case. It's 70% of alcoholics actually have erectile dysfunction. And the reason why they may not talk about it is because of shame. and because their priority is their alcohol, not sex, and they can use their drunkenness as an excuse for why they cannot, perform to optimal conditions, right? So Grok cleared up that for me. But during the process of that low vibration conversation I was having with AI, it revealed to me that alcohol messes with your frontal cortex. It's a vasodilator, so that helps, maybe you to get aroused initially. But because it messes with your frontal cortex, now it gets you kind of out of the mood in a certain kind of way. You know what I mean? Plus, it negatively affects your organs. So it loosens your inhibitions by affecting your frontal cortex, but it also hurts it in another way. The only thing that it might help is in being a vasodilator. Now, so going back to the article, this is what the article is saying. For example, stress or depression or other psychological factors can affect movement and contractions of the gastrointestinal tract, as well as sensations perceived to come from the gut. So your mind is tricking you about what's going on in your stomach, and your mind is also making your stomach move around, like, you know what I mean? So when somebody says they're sick to their stomach because they're upset about, they're angry at me, they're really sick to their stomach. Really, they really are. So it goes on to say, there is also emerging evidence that psychological factors may alter the types of bacteria that live in your gut, which can contribute to chronic inflammation. So that's bugged out. Certain bacteria are associated with inflammation. When we talk about foods that are anti-inflammatory, though a lot of those foods kill the bad gut bacteria, like ginger, garlic, cloves, turmeric, cumin, rosemary, some other stuff. But if you go back to my my post titled Big C something, I forgot what it's called, Big C, but I'm talking about cancer, and I'm talking about stomach cancer, and the herbs that are associated with fighting stomach cancer mostly kill the bad bacteria, and that results in reducing inflammation, because it's like your body is having an immune response to these bad bacteria, and when your body's having an immune response, you kind of swell up a little bit, you got inflammation. So anyhow, going on, the article says, in addition, research suggests that some people with functional GI disorders perceive pain more intensely than other people do because their brains do not properly regulate pain signals from the digestive tract. Now, I don't really understand what that means. I don't understand that part. It's saying that people with GI issues, right? Saying people with GI issues think that they're going through more pain than they are. So basically what that's saying is that if your gut is not properly balanced or not functioning well, you're gonna perceive pain. Your ability to endure pain is reduced. Your ability to endure pain is reduced. Something like that. That's the thing. That's what it's saying. Oh, okay. It clarifies. It goes on to clarify. In other words, stress can make the existing pain from functional GI disorders seem even worse. These observations suggest that at least some people with functional GI conditions might find relief with therapy to reduce stress or treat anxiety or depression. And sure enough, one review of 32 studies showed that people treated with psychologically based approaches had greater improvement in their symptoms compared with people who received conventional medical treatment. Whoa. What? Shows that people who had greater improvement. So, what What it's saying is that, okay, you come into the office and you say, oh, my stomach. And the doctor say, yeah, okay, take this milk of magnesia, take this bromate, or take this, I don't know, eat some licorice or something. I don't know, whatever. Doctor gives you something. That gives you a little bit of relief. That gives you some relief. This is what the article is basically saying. But if they also work on your thoughts, you have a better outcome. You know, and I'm just going to elaborate. I'm just going to go all over with it. But this is why social interaction is so important. This is why laughing is so important, in my opinion. This is why keeping your mind occupied is important. This is why thinking positive is important. This is why being optimistic is important. This is why focus on what you want and not focusing on what you don't want. Focusing on what you like and not focusing on what you don't like is important. You know, like, you know, the Bible says something about, you know, you got to have faith like a child or something like that. You know what I mean? Because I look at children and I see them being optimistic. Now, kids can get really disappointed when they don't get what they want. But when they want something, they're very optimistic about it. You know, in my opinion, you know. When they want something, they're very optimistic about it. They're looking forward to it. Christmas, they're looking forward to whatever. You know, they get the toy, whatever. I mean, we still do that as adults. You know, we're buying stuff on Amazon. It shows up and we don't even remember we bought it because it's just the pleasure of pressing that button and buying it and saying, oh, yeah, package is coming in. Whatever. Unboxing it or whatever the case may be. You know, opening a brand new thing and setting it up like you know, there's a million videos of guys opening new tech and assembling it and getting it started and plugging it up and coding it or whatever they're doing. But that's a whole experience. That's something to look forward to. It keeps you going. It keeps you alive, you know, to have a carrot in front of you to look forward to, you know what I mean? I mean, you know, let's get even weird with it. You know what I mean? We can tell people, listen, when you die, you're going to go to heaven. So they're like, you know, okay. So I'm not scared anymore, or I'm not worried anymore. Or when you die, you're going to see your family members. They're going to all be there. So, you know, you're like, okay, then I'm not worried about it, man. I can't wait to go up and see my relatives. You know, I pretty much subscribed to that as a child. Now I don't really know. Now I don't really worry about it. But maybe if you manifest that in your mind, that's exactly where you're going to be. You know what I mean? But how many family members am I going to see? I'm going to see the ones that I don't know. I'm going to see the ones all the way back to Adam. That means that Adam is up there too, which makes sense, hopefully, you know. We'll see all of them up there. And the ones that I don't see, are they in the bad? Let's not go. Let's stop. Okay, just stop. Okay, sorry. So the article goes on to say, integrative therapy for functional GI disorder shifts the focus away from pinpointing a specific cause for symptoms to engaging patients in activities, therapies that can help in managing symptoms and increasing quality of life. This may include use of medications, dietary changes, stress reduction techniques. Stress reduction techniques. What are stress reduction techniques? I don't know. Watching some comedy. Associating, hanging out with some positive people. And positive people, like I go on and say, is not the people that you necessarily have fun with that allow you and enable your bad behavior. Positive people are not people that enable your bad behavior. Positive people aren't people that give you drugs. Positive people aren't people that give you alcohol or put you on a subscription system of addiction. You know what I'm saying? We're getting away from the subscription model. Life is abundant. God gave us everything on earth. So why are we getting on a subscription model where we got to pay for water, we got to pay for air, we got to pay for everything? So now somebody's going to give you drugs. Now you're going to have to pay for drugs just to keep your peace? No, man. People that enable your bad behavior and enable bad habits, those are not your friends at all. But anyhow, sorry for preaching. But moving along. So I think stuff like yoga, running, jogging, swimming, stuff that you enjoy, painting, these things that are fulfilling, setting small goals and achieving small little goals. And say, I'm going to spread my bed this morning, or wash the dishes and then feel proud of myself. Oh, I'm going to fold these clothes and I feel proud of myself. Oh, I'm going to brush my teeth before I go to bed, which is something I struggle with. I like to fall asleep a lot of times and don't brush my teeth, which is not good for my heart. But also, I just learned that, I've already known, but mouthwash is linked to impotence. Mouthwash is associated with erectile dysfunction because it kills the good bacteria in your mouth that help the production of nitric oxide. So anyhow, I'm going off on too many tangents, but yeah, you gotta think positive, be optimistic. I like that song, The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow. I wish there was a more upbeat version of The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow song, because it's very solemn, sad sounding. They need somebody remix The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow and make it more upbeat and happy, because it's it's true. And even looking at it in a dark way, right, which is kind of the way that I'm, unfortunately I gotta fight to stay positive, but I still have a lot of negativity. One thing I look at is that I knew a lot of guys, not a lot, but I knew like a few guys that passed away in their 20s. One was stabbed, one was hit by a truck, and one self-deleted, right? And the one that self-deleted, there was another way, it wasn't, he just made too much of a big deal about something that he could have got over it. Anyhow, but the thing about all of them, which, some of them were victims. The guy who self-deleted, he wasn't a victim, he did it to himself. And he also took somebody with him too, so that's even worse. But the thing about it is, they're gone, I'm still here. It's sad. It's like survivor's remorse. You feel sad about the fact that they're here, but you can't look at it another way. That we're still here. The sun still came out the next day. They didn't get to see it. So what can we do? We can't invalidate, or we can't take moments too seriously to the point where we're gonna self-delete. And we have to appreciate the life that we have, because it could have been us, and we're so wealthy and we're so rich and we're so fortunate in the fact that we're still here and the sun still came out. And if we're not here, the sun is still going to come out tomorrow again. So that song, The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow, says a lot to me when I hear it. When I hear it, it says a lot to me. And even though the tone of it, the tone and the energy of the song is down, is very sad like sound, but the message, the overall message, is a message of optimism, to tell you, listen, it's not over, it's never over till it's over. It's never over till it's over. And I'm not talking about like Lenny Kravitz with his stalking, baby, it's not over till it's over. No, I'm not talking about being a stalker or being weird or anything like that. I'm talking about life. You don't have to take yourself so seriously that you want to have an abrupt, unsustainable action. Take an unsustainable, abrupt action. Now, the two guys that one got hit by a truck and the other one that got stabbed, it wasn't their fault. It wasn't their fault at all. The people that did those things, the man that stabbed the kid that I know, it wasn't necessary. It's whatever that was going on was not that important. It was not that serious. It was not that serious. It wasn't necessary to harm him, to do that to him. The guy who hit my buddy with the truck, that's just an accident. That's just an accident. I don't know exactly. I heard, that was just an accident. There's nothing that you could have done about that. He has the right to ride his bike. You have the right to drive your truck at the same time. But we all got a responsibility. But that one was an accident. You know what I mean? So it's what can you do? What can you really do? And the kid that I know that got hit by the truck. The amazing thing is that you can never get him back. He was a great and beautiful person. But what came out of that? What was birthed from that? Was that his mother campaigned with various mayors of New York City to get a bike lane installed on Queens Boulevard. But when he passed away, and I had just seen him, or I just spoke to him, or I think I texted him. I think I texted him because he did some videography. He did some videography work for me and my buddy, and he's just a young guy. You know what I mean? Just having fun, enjoying the city. Like I say, New York City is great when you're a young person. It's a great place to experience. It's a little too expensive though. Fortunately, we live here, so we live with our parents, so it's not really that bad. But I just texted him and to realize that he was younger than I was, even at that time. So this young man that I was just communicating with, he's gone, and I'm like, wait a minute. This makes me appreciate life more. Now, that appreciation for life lasted probably a good, 5 plus 4, 9 years. Maybe about 10 years. Until I lost hold of that thought. And I started feeling my own depression. Now, if I maintain the perspective that the sun will come out tomorrow and that other people, don't have the privilege, and I should appreciate my privilege of being able to be here to see the sun come out tomorrow. If I had maintained that, I wouldn't have made certain unsustainable decisions that I did make in later years. I forgot about him, but now I try to keep those guys in my memory, for the great things that they do and for the great people that they were, but also because they're suffering. I'm just gonna lay it out there. They're suffering. They're lost. The loss of them makes me feel more alive. The loss of those guys makes me realize I don't have time to waste. I was more motivated when it had just happened, and then I lost sight of it. But now I think that I'm trying to get back into properly honoring them. That's the only way I can honor them. Even the guy that self-deleted, how can I honor him? How can I redeem him? He's already gone, and what he did was horrible. How can I redeem him? How can I recover from that? How can I gain from that? I don't want to say gain, it's not financial gain, but how can I recover something from that? In my opinion, the way to recover something from that is to live well and not make that mistake. Don't make that mistake, So, don't take things too serious. Don't trip. Roll with it. Adapt. And it's a learning process. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, just on a tirade, just on a rant, just on a whatever. I'm always ranting, ain't I? So the article goes on to say, when assessing whether your gastrointestinal symptoms such as heartburn, abdominal cramps, or loose stools are related to stress, watch out for these other common symptoms of stress and report them to your clinician as well. Now, before I read the list, I was talking to my brother, and we're discussing a situation that he had to deal with, that he didn't realize that he was experiencing stress. And I said to him, listen, I'm not under stress. I'm not experiencing stress. I got this. And he says, okay. He basically says, okay, that's what you say. But looking at these symptoms that they list in this article show me that, sometimes you think you're all good. You think you're managing the stress. I mean, I'm pretty sure that even, when you talk to somebody who's an alcoholic, they say, I'm not an alcoholic, I just like to have a drink. That's what my grandfather used to say. I'm not an alcoholic, I just like to have a drink. Like we say in Queens or Brooklyn. Mind you, he was suffering from diabetes. I mean, he lived pretty long. He made it to 80-something. I don't remember how much 80. He lived in the UK, so I didn't really communicate with him too much. But he lived to 80-something, but eventually the diabetes ended up causing him to lose his foot. So after they amputated his foot, he didn't last too long after that. So, but that was his philosophy, even though he had diabetes. I'm not an alcoholic. I just like to have a drink. But he was, he had great genetics, so that kept him going for a while. But here are some physical symptoms of you going through stress, and you may not realize. Stiff or tense muscles, especially in the neck and shoulders. So that means when people say you're a pain in the neck, it's really stress, So then it goes headache, sleep problems, shakiness or tremors, recent loss of interest in sex. I'm sorry, sex. I don't like to say that word. Weight loss or gain, restlessness, behavioral symptoms, procrastination, difficulty completing work assignment, changes in the amount of alcohol or food you consume, taking up smoking or smoking more than usual, grinding teeth, rumination, which I talk about a lot, frequent talking or brooding about stressful situations. And then here's some emotional symptoms: crying, overwhelming sense of tension or pressure, trouble relaxing. That's what my brother said, he had trouble relaxing. Increased desire to be with or withdraw from others, nervousness, quick temper, that sounds like me, depression, poor concentration, well, that's me all the time, trouble remembering things, that's so much me, loss of sense of humor, I don't know about that. I got a sense of humor sometimes, most of the time. Indecisiveness, that sounds like me, because right now, I'm having some issues with my car, but I also enjoy fixing my car and have an emotional connection to my car. But I need a new car. It doesn't need to be new. I need to change my car to one that is more functional. I'm sorry, baby. I'm not talking about you. But I'm not making the right decision yet. So I see some of these things that I've experienced, like pain in the neck, loss of interest in sex, restlessness. I had some weight loss recently. I had some significant weight loss when I had to change my job location. That was stressful. Procrastination, I do a little bit of that. I got some work to do that I'm avoiding. I don't drink alcohol. Food, I'm not eating that much food. I eat a lot of candy sometimes. Smoking, no, I don't smoke. Grinding teeth, I don't do that. Rumination, that rumination thing, I'm trying to get away from that. Thinking positive is very important. So, anyhow, I'm almost at my destination. I just wanted to share that. I recommend, if you like to just get stuff in your inbox, I feel like they send me too many emails though sometimes. Harvard Medical School Health Beat. You can go on their website. You can Google it. Harvard Medical School Health Beat. If you go on their website, you can just, I think somewhere in there, you can put your email address in and subscribe. They'll keep trying to sell you different papers and articles and stuff. You don't have to buy them, or you can just look at what they're talking about. But there's so many health resources. I'm pretty sure there's so many health websites. People, as I get to be a gentleman of a certain age, I see that more health related stuff is aggregated towards me. More vendors are trying to sell me stuff about health. And it makes sense because not everything is working like how it used to, but we're trying to maintain and try to keep going because there's a lot of work to be done, and there's a lot of more to see and more to experience and things to look forward to. So I think you keep looking forward to things, looking forward to your recovery, look forward to your but at the same time it's a journey, so don't rush it. Don't rush it. Trust the process. You know what I mean? Some things, you can't really speak in hyperbole. You can't speak in absolutes because nothing is absolute. I could tell you that, drink a lot of water, but guess what? If you drink 5 gallons of water in within a day, it'll kill you or something like that. You know what I mean? So nothing is absolute. Everything with measure and within measure. That's why I think it's very important to portion control and dosing is important, and that's one of the things that I kind of had issue with when it comes to legalized marijuana is that dosage is not mentioned. It's just left up to the user to willy-nilly go ahead and use as much as they want. And then I just saw a post online last night where people are talking about supplements, because everybody's want to talk about turmeric now and saying, if you take too much turmeric, it'll damage your liver. Now, how much turmeric are you really eating? You know what I mean? So we need to know dosage even when it comes to supplements and stuff like that, or even when it comes to fruits and vegetables and all these things like that. Some people are using different treatments for different things of some plants that they're using are potentially harmful, but it depends on, like I said, the portion and the concentration. But hey, I'm almost at my destination. This traffic is crazy out here, and I look forward to talking to y'all, and I thank you so much for listening.